Good morning, every one of you. Welcome to today's program. Good morning. How is your weekends? How are your weekends? I believe you guys are doing perfectly okay. All right, welcome to today's program. But I'm going to just wait for a few minutes, let everybody come, and then we'll start the program. Today I'm going to be discussing two programs at the same time. The first program is going to be easy, it's going to be quick, and then we'll go to the next program. Okay, I'm going to be discussing the progression of macular edema. I've done this in my previous video. If you guys go to my page, you're going to see the full video about edema. If you're diabetic, so you're going to be conscious about the progression of diabetic edema. And then the second, quickly, I'm going to switch into the second program where we're going to discuss about how to recognize and manage sugar spikes. Okay, that's going to be the second program. Topic I'm going to be discussing: how to identify or recognize blood sugar spikes. Okay, so that's going to be the second topic I'm going to be discussing. The first topic, which is going to be the progression of diabetic edema, is going to be very easy, quick, and then we'll switch to the second program. So I'm going to do two topics in this video. All right, so you're welcome to today's program. All right, I believe you guys are doing fine, whether it is morning or afternoon or evening, depending on your location, you are welcome to today's program. All right, so yeah, I'm feeling much better today. I traveled. I was coming back from the state yesterday. I went to Washington D.C. So I said I have to be here this morning to do this program. So I have to drive stroke day and night because I left late yesterday from Washington D.C. So I got here 3 a.m. this morning, and then I have to catch some sleep, set my alarm, and then to wake up this morning to do this program because Manchester is playing. After I'm watching the next game, and I'm preparing to watch Manchester. Manchester is my team, despite they are not performing, so I have to watch that program. So I have to squeeze in this program as fast as I can to go and watch Manchester game. So yes, so in case if you see me dozing off or slumbering, know that because of fatigue. It's about 9 hours drive from Washington D.C. to where I'm based, so I have to drive. I got here 3 a.m. this morning, take my shower. By the time I take my shower, it's already 4 a.m. and so I have to catch some sleep. All right. Yeah, so that is the topic. So I'm streaming on all the platforms on Facebook, TikTok, and then YouTube. So you guys can watch me from any of those platforms. All right, so we're going to be discussing, as I said, I'm going to be discussing two topics. Carla, you're welcome. Hayden, you're welcome. Tony, you're welcome. So the first topic I'm going to be discussing is the progression. Okay, the progression of diabetic edema. Okay, that is going to be the first topic I will be discussing, the progression of diabetic edema. And then as soon as I finish that program, we're going to be discussing how to recognize and manage sugar spikes. I'm going to send a quick, oh, let me just, bear with me. While I was trying to do something, I'm just waiting for everybody to join, and then I hope you guys are doing fine. All right, welcome. So I'm going to do something here. I'm going to do something here just so then. So I want to send a quick test and I'm going to come back. I'm waiting for everybody to join online, so let's just give them a few minutes for everybody to join and then we'll start. All right. This. I want to send a quick message and then please bear with me. I want to send a quick message and then we'll start. All right. I'm waiting for everybody to join the program. Gima, you're welcome. How are you, Gima? Mavic, you're welcome. On TikTok, Jimagu, you joined. YouTube, I'm waiting for you guys to come up and then we'll start. YouTube. I'm waiting for YouTube. All right. Who similes have joined and who again? Gima, how are you? Long time. Okay. I'm trying to... all right. Joseph, you're welcome. How are you? All right. So, please, if my audio is not clear, let me know. We're going to start now. Those that are going to join us late, you can rewind. If you join us late while the program is already started, you can rewind, or you wait till end of the program and then you can start and watch the full video. So let me just recap what I just said in earlier on. Okay, YouTube is up now. Everybody, okay. All right, okay. All right. Let me see TikTok. TikTok, don't fail me this morning. Are you guys to... I'm waiting for TikTok. Odetech, Geos, Himark. All right. A lot of you have joined, but I don't know why I'm sweating this morning. All right. So as I said, let me recap what I just said in the beginning. All right. In the beginning, I said I will be. In the beginning, I said I will be discussing two topics this morning. Okay, I'll be discussing two topics this morning, and the first topic I'll be discussing is the progression of diabetic edema. We call it DME. In the short form, we call it DME. Now, most people don't know what is diabetic edema. If you're a diabetic, you should be conscious of having this diabetic edema. I have a full video of this diabetic edema on my page. You can go to my page and you can watch the full video. I've done it about last year. So, but what I'm going to do now is just the progression. There are stages of progression of diabetic edema. If you don't want to lose your eyesight, it's one of the complications of diabetics. Okay, retinopathy. That's what we call them, retinopathy. So, if you don't want to lose your eyesight, okay, if you don't want to lose your eyesight, then it is important. I'm going to adjust. Hold on. I'm going to adjust my camera on this. One of my camera is not set. Just hold on. Let me adjust it. All right, I think it's going to be better now. All right, it's much better now. All right, so we're going to do the progression of diabetic edema. You're going to understand what is diabetic edema. Now, and then after that, as I said, I'm going to discuss two topics on this video. The first topic, which is the progression, is going to be very short. It's just to tell you guys the progression, and then we're going to switch. I'm going to switch to the second topic, which is how to recognize sugar spikes as a diabetics, because most people don't know how to recognize it. So we're going to discuss how to recognize sugar spikes and how to treat it. All right. So that's going to be the second topic I'm going to be discussing on this video. All right. All right. So, okay. So let's go. Sorry, I'm just kind of a little bit tired. drove all night yesterday. Let me see. Well, I'm gonna deal with your questions. I'm gonna deal with your questions later. All right, TikTok, YouTube. I believe you guys. This guy doesn't read comments. Spartacus, what? Spartacus, what is? I didn't see anything. The point of this is to get our feedback. All right, sorry about that. Spartacus on YouTube. Hold on. Okay, Spartacus, I'm sorry, I didn't see your comment. Let me read your comment and sorry, let me go back to your comment. It says the problem is our food, otherwise, other diabetics will not exist. Okay, let me see what he said before. I'm trying to see. Okay, I've read your comment, Spartacus. You said our problem is the food does not exist. Now, I don't know where, Spartacus, where are you watching me from? Can you tell me? He's asking me a question on, there's a comment on YouTube. Where are you watching me from? Now, I know most people in Africa, okay, yes, because of the kinds of food they eat in Africa, it's very difficult to manage diabetics. But that doesn't mean, okay, that doesn't mean you should not be wary of the kinds of things you eat. The problem with diabetics, regardless of where your locations are, is you have to know what you eat. If you know you're a diabetic, there are certain food you have to stay away from. And there are certain food that you can minimize. You can eat in a smaller quantity. Even though you're a diabetic, does not mean you cannot eat your favorite food. The question is that at what quantity did you eat those foods? And at what time? Because there's a space in those foods. So when dealing with diabetics, regardless of your locations, you have to understand what type of food you eat and then at what quantity. All right? So now, let me see. Everything we eat has sugar. Yes, everything you eat has carbs. When we talk about sugar, does not mean the white substance. I'm trying to answer Spartacus' comment on YouTube, and then we'll go to our full topic. So, because there's something he says in our food. Spartacus, he said they put sugar in food purposely. No, they don't put sugar in food purposely. Spartacus, there's something you don't understand. When we talk about sugar, diabetics, many people understand that it's the white substance. You know that white substance is what is called that causes diabetes, or the brown. You know, sugar has the white one and the brown one. No. Even though you are not more using those white substance to put in your tea or the brown substance, does not mean you cannot still have diabetes. They don't put food purposely on your food. No. One thing you have first to understand: every food we eat has carbohydrates. Carbon. We call them carbs. So even though you are not consuming those white substance, the sugar in your tea, the food you eat contains carbohydrate. So anytime you eat that food and those food goes into your system, it converts those carbs into sugar and then spike up your sugar level. So that is why you see most people sometimes will complain they're on medications for several years, but each time they do their test, their sugar levels are very high. It's because of the food you are eating. Those food contains carbohydrate. Now, once you eat those food, it's going to convert those carbohydrates into sugar. So even though you are no more consuming sugar in your tea, but those food you are consuming contains carbohydrates, so that carbohydrate is going to be converted into sugar and spike up the sugar level. So that is why you have to minimize the quantity of food you eat. And then there are certain food you also have to stay away from. All right? So that is it. So I believe I've answered your question, Spartacus. Okay? Okay? It's not, they don't put the food in, the sugar intentionally. No, you also have to understand the carbs. So even though, like what you're just saying about the labels, the content is yes, that you are right. You got to watch the labels. So even though you are buying something from the shelves and it says 0% sugar, there is no sugar in it. That does not mean, all right, even though in that label it says 0% sugar, look at the carbs on it. It might say 0% sugar, but the carb might be 40 or 50 or 30% carbohydrate. So you still have a problem because of the carbs. So even though it says 0% sugar in the label, look at the carbohydrate content. It's going to tell about 40 or 30%. So you also have to worry of those things you are buying. So not only when it says sugar, you stay away. Even if it says 0% and then there's carbs, it's still the same thing. So let's go into, so Carl, Spartacus, I believe I've dealt with your questions. I have to go into the topic we're discussing today. So we'll go to Spartacus. I'm going to go into what we're discussing now. More likes can attract viewers. Okay, invite. Okay, let's go. All right. Okay. So let's talk about the progression. Okay. So we are going into the first topic, the progression of diabetic edema. Okay, we're going to discuss about the progression of diabetic edema. For those who who wants to know I have a video. I have a video on my page. If you want to understand what is DME, diabetic edema, and how to manage it, go into my page. There's a full video about I did last year about diabetic edema. All right. So let's talk about it. What is DME? So sometimes we refer them as DME. If I don't want to mention diabetic edema, what is DME? All right. What is DME? Now, diabetic edema, we call it diabetic macular edema. Okay. It's a complications of diabetics. Now, retinopathy, we have retinopathy, okay, neuropathy, okay, we have nephropathy. Nephropathy have to do with your liver, retinopathy have to do with your eyesight, and the neuropathy have to do with your nerves in your legs and hands. So these are all complications of diabetics. So now the DME is a possible complications of what? Diabetes. It has to do with your eyesight. There's a progression for you to now have a total loss of your vision. And that is why as a diabetic, you have to regularly go for eye check, do your eye test to make sure there's no diabetes in your eye. The earlier they catch it, the better, so they can stop it, the progression, so you don't have a total loss of eyesight. As a diabetic, you have to make it a point of duty to regularly go and check your eyesight. All right, you might have some friends. They weren't born blind. They weren't born blind all their childhood up to the adolescent, up to the adult stage. They were all having their eyesight. All of a sudden, they lose their eyesight. They can't see. That might be the possible of diabetics. So regardless, if you don't take care of a diabetic situation, you might have a total loss of visions or partial loss of visions. That is why as a diabetic, you have to regularly go for a regular eye check annually, or depending on the severity of your diabetics, sometimes they can make it every 6 months. So if you neglect that aspect of your treatment, not regular eye check, you might wake up one day and have a partial loss of eyesight or total loss of vision. Okay, so it's a complication of diabetics. It happens when the tiny blood vessels. So when you have DME, diabetic macular edema, it's when the tiny blood vessels in the eye get damaged from high blood sugar over time. So over time, okay, that's what there's a progression. Okay, when the tiny blood vessels in the eye get damaged, so that is why you have to, anytime your sugar level goes high, you must at all time, all possible, bring it down. The more you allow your sugar level to keep going high and remain high for a longer period of time, you are damaging your blood vessels and nerves. So those tiny blood vessels that are connected to your eyesight get damaged because of prolonged high blood sugar levels, hyperglycemia in your bloodstreams. In the early stages, there may be no symptoms. In the early stage, there may be no symptoms or changes in your vision. But as they progress from stage 1 to stage 3, they start noticing some changes in your vision. And by the time you know, you have either a partial loss of vision, or you have a total loss of vision. Remember, driving is a privilege and not a right. If you don't treat your diabetes properly, or you are neglecting, your driver license can be withdrawn because you are a danger to the public. Your doctor can withdraw your driver license until you're able to control your sugar levels, because you are a danger to the public. You might be driving, all of a sudden you lost your eyesight, and then you start killing everybody. So there will be several warnings to control your sugar levels. If you neglect it, your doctor can now write to the ministry to withdraw your driver license until you treat it properly, then they restore your license. If they feel that you find it very difficult to treat your diabetes, they may withdraw your license for life. Then you have somebody to drive you all the time. So that's why driving is a privilege and not a right. Okay? So that is what happens when you have a prolonged high blood sugar levels in your bloodstreams. As you leave them there, they are causing damages to the nerves and to the blood vessels. All right? Let me see what Um, let's see what happened here. Mbia, you're welcome. Jumaya, you're welcome. Elbow, you're welcome. Fakir, you're welcome. Well, there again, the foods we eat are our contributions. Should not be eaten. Spartacus, Spartacus, I'm not understanding your comment. Your comment are just coming. I'm not understanding them. Your comments. Well, there again, the foods we eat are contributions. If there's a question there, I'm going to answer. But if you should not anything, okay. I don't understand. I'm not following what you're doing. So let's me look at. All right. So now. All right, so now the damage to the delicate cells of the blood vessels weakens them. So once it's a gradual process, okay, damage to the delicate cells of the eyesight, okay, weakens them, leading to progressive leakage of fluid, okay, protein and lipids into the eye socket. Now, your edema controls the peripheral visions, your central peripheral visions of your eyesight. Anything that cause detachment of the nerves from the socket, okay, cause a distortion of your visions to the retina. Your retina is what receive whatever your eye sees within a second is retina captured and sent it to the brain for interpretations. So anything that destroys detachment of the retina, okay, for instance, if I look at certain things now, within a second, that image is going to be sent to the retina, and the retina is going to transport it to the brain to interpret within seconds. But if there's a distortion or a damage or a weakened cells or blood vessels, that blood cannot flow into the retina. That is why I start expressing blurred visions. It means when your eye sees something, it takes it time to interpret because that thing is not getting to the retina. For the retina to not send it to the brain to interpret within seconds. And that's why I start experiencing blurry vision. Because when you have a blurry visions, you are trying to figure out what is this. Now your brain is finding it very difficult to interpret what we are seeing because the retina there's a detachment or the blood vessels or there's a leakage and the fluid is not leaking into the blood the socket. So damage to the delicate cells lining these blood vessels weakens them, okay, leading to the progression of leakage of fluid and proteins and lipids into the eye socket. Now, when the fluid is leaking into the eye socket, there's a buildup. Okay, there's a buildup and causes the central part of your eyesight push. There's a pressure now because now, for instance, when there's a leakage going into the eyesight, okay, the leakage is dropping, it's getting swelling, there's a pressure. Okay, so this fluid cannot build up and then cause what we cause the center part of the retina called the macula. That's what I said. The macula controls the center peripheral vision of your eyesight. It's located in the center of the retina. That controls your central peripheral visions of your total eyesight. So due to that leakage in your eyesight, there's a pressure build-up into that macula that swells up. Okay? Emmanuel. Let me just hold on, wait. Cataract. You have a cataract? Cataract is treatable in the early stages. There's a stage that cataract cannot be touched. That's what you have to understand. So cataract is treatable in the early stages. There is a stage it can never be touched. Touch it, you lose your eyesight. Let me see what you're saying here. You say your eyesight, hold on. Let me see what you're saying here. Your eyesight is Okay, I got what you're trying to say. Okay, if you are sure it's cataract, okay, if you are sure it's cataract, as I said, it is treatable in the early stages. There's a stage of cataract that can never be touched. There's a stage of cataract that can never be touched. Touch it, you lose your eyesight. So our advice is to see a specialist. Okay, it is treatable in the early stages. My mom used to have it, and then I send her, I send her for an operation. Now she's okay. Now, if you are going for a cataract surgery, the two eye can never be done at the same time. I'm just giving you guys the tips how it's being done. You cannot walk into an ophthalmologist, okay, and then cataract is performed on the two eyesight at the same time. It is not possible. So if they want to operate on the two eyesight, just walk away. They have to treat one eye, surgery on one eye, wait for a month, and see the response if it is correct. You are seeing, once they treat it and they review it and see everything is okay that you are seeing, then they'll perform the second one. So that if they perform the first one and they see that you cannot, or you lost your eyes, at least you have one eyesight to use. So they cannot do cataract at the same time in the same eye. It's one after the other. There's a 30 or 60 days gap for them to do it. So there's a surgery being performed. So, okay, when you do your own thing, so when you do your own, you still have some pains. Your eye will be dilated during the surgery. They'll give a dilation of your eyes, the eyes, so they don't feel that pain. All right. So yeah. Oh, you say I'm okay now. I'm preparing to go for the second one. All right. All right. That's good. That's good. You are preparing to go for the second one. Hila, you're welcome. Punjab, you're welcome. Magda, you're welcome. 4444, John, you're welcome. Should not eat anything. Spartacus, I'm still reading your comment, but I'm not understanding what you're saying on YouTube. All right, so now we are discussing the progression of macular edema. Now, as the macula continues, as I said, the fluid is leaking into the circle of the eyeball and putting pressure in the macula, which is located in the center of the retina. Now, the macula allows you to focus this, especially, okay, in the central part of your vision, which is the retina, the peripheral vision. It's located in the center. Now, as the macula continues to swell and thickens, that's where the problems start coming. Because of the presence of fluid leaking from the blood vessels. That will say, if you are the type that are conscious of your health and you are diabetics, you have to do regular eye check every year, depending on the severity of your diabetes. Sometimes they can do it every 6 months. But if you are okay and they look at your diabetes, it's not all that bad, they can still do it every year. So the earlier the better it is located, find out the situation of the problem, it can be stopped. So that leakage can be stopped in the earlier stage if you carry out your annual checkup. But if you are the type that doesn't go on annual checkup and you're diabetics, the fluid could building up, the leakage could building up, okay? There comes a time there'll be a swell and thickens. That pressure is what causes a detachment from the blood vessels, the nerves from the retina, and that's why you start having problems, okay? So in some cases, it leads to blindness. It could be total, it could be partial. So annual eye exams are important for those battling diabetics. Okay? It's one of the complications of diabetes, retinopathy. So there is a treatment, if caught early, either to stop the progression, to block the leakages, drain the fluid out of the side so that you can regain your eyesight, if caught early. If it's in the advanced stage, there's a stage it's going to be advanced, it can never be touched. So you are left to your fate to when you're going to go blind. Okay? So regular eye exams is recommended for those that are battling diabetics. For those that are battling diabetics. All right? Okay. So now, let's go to, I finished with the intro. I'm going to go to the progression. Okay? There's something there's a question that come in here. I'm trying to see what it is. Hold on, there's a question I want to. There's a question here that comes up here. I want to see what it is. So that I did not ignore your question. Just hold on. There's a question that I'm seeing here. I need to treat it. Hold on. I'm not seeing. I'm trying to see your question here. Hold on. I'm not seeing your question here. I saw that question here, but I'm trying to figure out what it is. Can you send that? I'm trying to figure out what is. Hold on. Why did I see that question? Oh my God! I need to answer that because I don't want somebody to say I ignored their question. I'm trying to see. Sorry about that. I can't see that question. I'm going to continue what I'm doing. If I see it, I'm going to answer it back. But I remember something. What did I see that question? Okay, hold on. Let me figure it out. All right. Let me see. Invite. Sid, you're welcome. Okay, let's look at the progression. Okay, what are the progressions of diabetic edema? What are we're going to look at the progressions. As I said to you guys in the beginning, there are stages. We're going to look at the progression of diabetic macular edema. The first stage, the progression has up to 5 stages. It's up to 5 stages. If it's at the stage 3, most ophthalmologists are going to stay away from touching it. Stage 1, stage 2, yes. Stage 3 becomes advanced because you at least 50% of your eyesight is totally lost. Okay? 50% of your eyesight are totally lost. So, the first progression is blurry vision. Now remember, blurry vision is one of the symptoms of diabetics. Okay? So blurry vision is one of the symptoms of diabetics. So the first progression, the first stage, you start experiencing blurry vision. Now, the early signs of DME, which is diabetic macular edema, may be blurry vision that comes and goes. All right? It can be extremely hard to focus on things right in front of you. So when you have blurry vision, okay, your eye can see an object. Okay? Now, a blurry vision is different from double images. So let's differentiate both of them. When you are experiencing double images, it's not a blurry vision. They are two different things. Blurry vision is that you are looking at some, like for instance, in your phone or in your iPad or TV, you're watching a program, you could see the picture is not totally clear. Okay, there's a blurriness in that picture. It's not totally clear. So it's like you want to get closer to see the object clearly, but the more you get closer, the more it becomes blurred. So what happened is that once your eye catches an object, it's supposed to be transmitted to the retina. And the retina within seconds goes to the brain, and within seconds that image is interpreted and tell you whether it's black or white. The same thing when you are reading something in your phone, as soon as your eye gets at that thing, your brain within seconds have already interpreted that this is what you are reading. Like for instance, look, you see the number, look, it's telling you that's look. But when you have a blurry vision, that look is not clear. Okay, you are seeing it, but it's blurry. It's not clear. What happens is that whatever your eye is catching up is not sending that image to the retina. Now, the retina is not grasping what you are looking at, so it makes it very difficult for the brain to interpret because of the blurriness of that, what you're experiencing. So it comes and go. Why? What happens is that there's now, because of that fluid buildup and that pressure, the blood vessels are becoming weak, there's a leakage, the nerves are now becoming dead or not functioning properly. So blood is not flowing properly into your retina. Remember, in that blood vessels, it carries nutrient that your retina need to function properly. So when the blood is not reaching the retina, due to the leakage in the blood vessels, then that blood visions exit, it comes and go. So what happens is that in a normal retina functioning properly, it goes straight into the retina. So once your eye captures something, it goes straight into the retina. Within seconds, your brain interprets it. Now, when you have a leakage in your blood vessels, or the nerves are not functioning properly, so that ray does not go straight into the retina. As soon as it crosses that membrane, okay, it scatters. It scatters because it's not going straight to get into contact with the retina. So what happens as soon as it crosses those membrane, okay, the images or the ray scatters in bubbles because they are not in contact with the retina. So you find it very difficult to interpret. That is what we call blurry visions. They are different from double images. So blurry visions is the early stage of DME, diabetic macular edema, because it comes and go. So if you're a diabetic and you're experiencing these blurry visions, one is the symptoms of diabetes. I would advise you to first of all go and see an optician or see your doctor. Normally, I would recommend to go to see your doctor, and your doctor is now going to send you to a specialist, ophthalmologist, who is going to look into your situations and find out what is going on with your eyesight. Remember, to avoid these complications of partial loss or total loss, you're going to make sure your blood sugar levels are all normal at all times. Am I making sense? Now, let's go to the second one. Okay? Remember I said blurry vision and double images are not the same. All right? Now, the second one is images looks wavy. The second one is images look wavy. How does images look wavy? Okay, the images look wavy. Now, objects start to appear distorted. Okay, distorted straight lines may look wavy, or images no longer have sharp edges. All right, so when those images look, that's what I've tried to explain before, because there's a way images are transported to the retina. If you have your normal, your sugar levels are okay, you don't have any eye problem, it goes straight in a straight line to get in touch with the retina. As soon as it touches the retina, the brain is already interpreting it, and you know what you are reading. But when the retina, blood is not reaching the retina, the nutrients are not reaching the retina, then the images becomes wavy. What happens that instead of those images we go like, I don't know how I'm going to put it. Speed of a sound goes straight. Okay, so any images our eyesight catches goes straight into the retina. There's no distortion. It goes straight into the retina, and then within that seconds the brain interprets it. But when the blood vessels are weak and there's a leakage, blood is not reaching the retina, or if it's reaching the retina, it's not with the full force that it needed. There are some nutrients that are not there. So when the blood vessels are not reaching the retina, and there is nutrient in those blood that the retina need to function properly, so the images start become what? Distorted and wavy. It means whatever your eye sees, instead of it going straight into the retina, it becomes distorted. It scatters. As soon as it crosses the retinal membrane, those images, scatters. So now what is going to happen is that your retina is going to be struggling to find that what are you seeing that the brain cannot interpret. So they become wavy. Those objects at the edges are not fine-tuned. That is what it means. The object becomes wavy. Because now the blood vessels are weak, the blood is not getting to retina, the nutrients are going to retina, so everything is distorted. So from blurry vision to wavy object, those are the progression. So it started from a blurry vision, and if you are not controlling your blood sugar level and you keep allowing it to accumulate, it goes to the next stage, which is the images become wavy. So whatever you are seeing does not look so fine, they become distorted. All right? So the third one is there's something we call floaters. There's something we call floaters in your vision. There's something we call floaters in your vision. Superstar, you're welcome. Alex, you're welcome. Okay, there's something we call floaters in your vision. All right? Now, what are those floaters? What are those floaters in your vision? What are those floaters? Now, I'm going to answer your question. I've seen what you said. I'm going to answer it. Let me look at what Spartacus, you are not more saying anything. I'm not, what you are saying in the YouTube, I find it very difficult to understand, to interpret what you are saying on the YouTube, on the comment sections. All right? So there's something we call floaters. Now, floaters may appear dark spot or lines or squiggles that floats across your sight. Sometimes you feel like there's something in your eyesight that moves around. Okay? It moves around. You could feel that there's something in there. So it could be in the form of dark spot, in the form of a line, or squiggles that float across your sight. They come and go, and at the same time may appear more as the DME progresses. So as the DME progresses, you see more of these floaters. Okay? So that is the progression. What is the bottom line? Always make sure your sugar levels are in a normal positions. The more you allow your sugar levels creeps up for a longer period of time, you are causing more damage to your blood vessels and then to your nerves. And if you love your eyesight, if you want to protect your eyesight at all sides, make sure you always go to annual checkup. Now, I used to say this to all my friends: if you know how wicked this world is, if you know how wicked this world is, if you know how wicked, if you want to know the wife or the husband, or even within your family members, or even within your friends, who they are, go blind. Go blind. Even start from your husband or your wife. If you know how to know this, how the wicked is in this world, lose your eyesight. You know how wicked it is. Even the loved ones now, the loved ones are going to treat you like hell. It's only 1% that are going to stay with you. The remaining are going to treat you like garbage if you lose your eyesight. Starting from your husband or your wife, and then extend from your family members to your friends and your acquaintances. So I advise you, make sure you do everything to protect your eyesight. If you're diabetic, lose both of your eyesight, then you know the kind of wife you have at home, or your husband you have at home, or the sisters and brothers you have at homes, or your family members. Okay, then you know that this world is wicked. So I advise everybody to make sure, if you're battling diabetics, make at point of duty to make sure, even if you can't afford to eat, even if you are not financially okay, make sure you retain your eyesight. At least you can see. But when you lose your eyesight, when you lose two eyesight, that's when you know the kinds of family, your husband, or those two, husband and wife, you have. It's only 1% will stay with you at that darkest period of time. Others, You start seeing the different kinds of treatment because you can't see. You are at their mercy, and they don't give a damn if you lose your eyesight. So I advise everybody battling diabetics to make sure, okay, you retain your eyesight. Do whatever it is possible to make sure you might lose your eyesight. Even if you lose one, don't lose both of them. At least you can see with one. But losing both of them, you know that this one is wicked. All right. So floaters appears when the progression is going up. There's a progression, steady progression. It means you are lacking in treatment of your diabetes. Diabetes causes a lot of problems. Okay, it causes you a lot of health issues. So how do you survive it is to make sure that you stay within the rules and regulations governing diabetics. If they say your sugar level should not go high, make sure it doesn't go high, it doesn't go low. Let it stay with those things that ask you to avoid them, and then drink your medications constantly and also exercise, and then watch what you eat. Okay, so the floaters is the third progressions. Okay, somebody's asking me to. So after the floaters, we'll go to the central vision. They say your central vision now get worse. I think this is the stage 4. The stage 4, central vision get worse. Somebody's asking me to post it on the comment section. I'll see if I can post it on the comment section. So when you are at the stage of central vision, okay, your central vision get worse. This is you approaching between stage 3 to stage 4. It gets harder to focus on objects in your central visions right in front of you. That means the macula, which is located in the center of your retina, is completely going dead. So you are finding it very difficult to interpret words or to see words or to see objects or to recognize people. You can only recognize people through their voices. At this stage, it's getting worse. It means the blood vessels are now completely about 80% gone. The nerves are about the 70% gone. Blood is not reaching the retina. There's a detachment. The swelling and the thickness of those, because of the presence of fluid in the macula, thickens the wall, and there's a detachment from the macula to the retina. So which means whatever you are seeing does not get to the retina for the brain to interpret. So at this stage, the central vision gets worse. All right? At this stage, ophthalmologists find it very difficult to touch it because anything touched in this stage, you are totally going to lose your eyesight. Terry, you're welcome. Justice, you're welcome. Wanit, Justin, you're welcome. Let me say hi to this one. All right. So after the central vision, okay, your colors look faded. Colors look faded. You find it very difficult to know which color is this. Is it black or white or green or yellow? Because of the fading of colors. So colors might appear dull or faded as the macula has harder time processing the image and colors to get to your brain. So macular edema is located in the center of your retina, which controls your peripheral central vision. Anything that touches that area touches your vision. How does it touch it? Because your blood vessels are getting weak, your nerves are getting weak, there's a leakage in your blood vessels, blood is not getting to the retina, and there's a swelling, there's a thickening of the wall, and the next thing, there's a detachment from the macula and the retina. All right, so at this stage, your colors become dull. You find it very difficult to interpret colors. I said, okay, I've seen the question has come on. So now, more floaters. You know, we talk about floaters in stage 3. So at this stage now, you are going to be seeing more floaters constantly. Those dark spots or line across your eyesight or scribbles across your eyesight now appear constantly. The floaters appears constantly, so you are struggling now between your eyesight and the floaters that are appearing constantly. and that becomes a major issue. So when there's a presence of floaters in your visions, make it even more harder to see because they appear in your eyesight. So it's like your eyesight, you are trying to figure out what you are looking. The floaters are in front of your macula. You cannot even see the object. So you are battling between the floaters and the object to see. Now the floaters are appearing constantly. That means you are losing your vision. Okay, and then we have the vessels that leak fluid. Once your blood vessels start leaking fluid, there's a hole in the blood vessels. Remember, in those blood transport a lot of nutrients that the retina needs. Blood must get to the retina. Blood must get to the brain because in that blood there's oxygen. If oxygen is not getting to the brain, then you can't survive. So most of the nutrients that our body needs are transported through the blood. So when there's a leakage in the blood vessels, it means the blood is not getting to the retina. So the nutrient that the retina need is not getting to them. That becomes a problem. So that is why it's advisable if you are battling diabetes, make sure you constantly make sure your sugar levels are not high. Make sure that constantly your sugar levels are not high. Okay? Make sure your sugar levels are not high. Because when they are high, it's a problem for you. All right? So, let's look at the vessels leak fluid. That is what I just interpreted. Okay? When your blood vessels that are leaking fluid, okay, I'm going to just say it in a short sentence that you can understand. When that vessel, the blood vessel that is taking blood to the retina is leaking, the blood is not getting to the retina. So it's leaking into the eye socket where the macula is located. So due to the presence of fluid in those areas, there's a pressure buildup. There's a swelling and thickening of the walls. Those swelling and thickening of the walls is what detach the retina from the macula. And when there's a detachment of the macula from the retina, it means whatever your eye sees is not getting to the brain because of the detachment and because of the pressure. So it is treatable in the early stage. That's how to drill a hole in it to leak those fluid if it is caught early, in the early stage 1 and stage 2. Okay? So ophthalmologists will perform a surgery if it is necessary that they can leak the fluid and then stop those leakages, block it permanently so that the progression cannot continue. All right? So that is why it is important to go for an eye test every year, depending on the severity of your diabetic situations. If surgery is needed, there's something we call OCT, which is optimal coherence tomography, okay, exam, to identify where the leakage is and then block it, and then it's possible leak the fluid from the macula so that you can regain at least some of your eyesight. Okay, I'm trying to finish up this and then we'll go to the second topic. Then we have the vision get worse. Due to the presence of fluid in the macula, the swelling and the thickness of the walls, the detachment of the retina from the edema, your vision get worse. You find it very difficult to see. This is stage 4 to stage 5. There are 5 stages in edema. From stage 3, it's getting worse. Stage 4, stage 5 becomes definitely you are going to be blind. There's no more savior. At stage 4, definitely the doctor is going to tell you you are going to get blind, so go prepare for it. And normally at stage 4, even at stage 3, that's when if you are driving, they might pull your license out. And you can't drive anymore because you can lose your eyesight while driving, and you know what it's going to be. It's killing a lot of people along the road. So doctors, when they notice you are stage 4 at this stage, they might withdraw your license for life. And then it means somebody have to drive you all the time, because it means at any point in time, you're going to lose your eyesight. Okay? So at this vision get worse, totally, it means you're going to lose your eyesight. Definitely, you're going to lose your eyesight. Now, because of the presence of fluid in the macula is located in the center of the retina. So once you're a diabetic, make sure you regularly check your eyesight. So many people don't check their eyesight. As soon as they wake up, they're okay. Make it a point of duty annually. Make sure you go to your eyesight. Sometimes they make it every 6 months, depending on the severity. If you find it very difficult to control your diabetes, they make it every 6 months to go and do those eye exams to make sure if there's anything caught early, it's treatable. Okay? Now, so due to the swelling of the macula, due to the presence of fluid, there's a swelling and a thickening of the walls. And what happened? There's a detachment from the walls and the retina. That is when the macula comes in full force. Okay? As more fluid builds up in the macula, it swells and thickens. Vision is affected, and then the eye can no longer focus properly. That is where you are resigned to lose your eyesight. So as I said, this is a short video I'm going to do on this topic. I have, if you guys go to my page, I have a full video on diabetic macular edema, on what it is, the symptoms, and how it's being treated. This is just a brochure to remind you guys, oh, listen, there's something we call DME, okay, which is more severe than the retinopathy, okay? It's a progression. Retinopathy is different from DME. It's going to start from retinopathy and then progress to DME. So you guys have to understand those things. The more you don't control your sugar levels and you allow it to prolong for a longer period of time, you are inviting problems to yourself. You are inviting problems to yourself at all times. So it's advisable at all times to make sure, all right, you control your sugar levels at all times. It's advisable you control your sugar level at all times. Okay? All right, so as I said, I was saying that I'm going to go to the next, I'm going to discuss two topics on this. I'm going to go to the next topic, how to recognize and manage blood sugar levels. Okay, how to recognize and manage blood sugar levels. YouTube, TikTok. All right, how do we manage? How do we manage, or how to recognize and manage blood sugar spike? What am I trying to say here? Okay, how do you recognize sugar spike and how do you manage it? Okay, so this is a question. If you see this question on an exam and they say how to recognize and manage a blood sugar spike, what does it mean? They are asking you what are the symptoms of diabetics. How do you recognize the symptoms of diabetes and how do you treat it? As I always said in my videos, when you have symptoms of diabetes, when you have any symptom of diabetes, try to understand what is the underlying cause of those symptoms. You cannot treat the symptoms and leave the underlying cause. To get rid of those symptoms, you have to treat the underlying cause to get rid of those symptoms. So when you go to a doctor, doctors don't treat symptoms. They treat the underlying cause to get rid of those symptoms. So when you see this question in exam hall, they are asking you, how can you recognize symptoms of diabetes and also how do you manage it? So when I say how to recognize and manage blood sugar spikes, it's the same question I'm asking. So we're going to look at the symptoms and we're going to look at the DKA and the ketoacidosis. These are all complications of diabetics. Remember one thing, nephrologist has to do with kidney. If you're battling with diabetics, make sure, all right, make sure you protect your kidney at all times. The two organs that are more likely to be damaged if you have diabetes is your liver and kidney. That is going to cut your lifespan short. That is the two organs diabetes tend to attack easily to make sure you don't live long. So if you're a diabetic, make sure you are checking your kidney and liver functions because those are two organs that diabetes tend to attack in the early stages to cut your life short. So if you have a good doctor that treats diabetes very well, they in your treatment, in your medications, they're going to add a pill, a medication that's going to protect those organs against diabetics. So it's important at all times to check your kidney and liver functions anytime you are going for your A1C test. All right? Pay that extra to make sure at least you can go to bed to sleep and make sure that your kidneys and liver are functioning properly. The filtration rate is what they're looking at, the filtration rate. So, increased thirst, fatigue, frequent urinations are some of the symptoms of what? Blood sugar spikes. Now, eating a balanced diet, following your diabetes management plan, and exercising may also be ways to manage your diabetes. All right? So here, there are questions that I'm going to answer. I choose these questions among all the series of questions that comes in. I said, okay, I'm going to answer those questions on the live programs. That's going to give you guys a clue how to manage or how to recognize a spike in your sugar levels and how to manage them properly. Terry, you're welcome. So let's go. When your blood sugar level rises for many different reasons, okay, including what we eat and drink, medications amount, and also exercise intensity, and also stress levels can also be a cause why your sugar levels rise. Now, there's one thing you guys don't understand. Do you know an infection can cause your sugar levels to spike? Just an infection. Stress can also cause your sugar level to spike. Depression can also cause your sugar level to spike. Intensive exercise can also cause your sugar levels to. That's why when you are exercising, they advise you guys to check your during and after your exercising. Always check your sugar levels, because at those times your sugar levels are always high. So when you do engage in intensive exercise, it's going to cause your sugar level to spike. Now, one thing you have to understand: many people think that fasting can make them reduce their sugar level. No. When you are intentionally fasting, you're going to get reverse. Intentional fasting will make your sugar level to spike. That's what people don't understand. They think when they are not eating, if I don't eat for 8 hours, 5 hours, 7 hours, 4 hours, my sugar level is no. You are getting the opposite reaction. Fasting is going to increase the sugar level spikes. I have a video on it. Go and check it in my page. Okay, you're going to get the opposite reactions. All right, and I'm going to tell you guys how it works. All right, so now let's okay. What you eat, okay, what you eat will determine your level of sugar spikes. Spartacus, I'm coming to the area where you are discussing now about what you eat. Egia, Amisa, hello, you are welcome. Let me see. Egia, Amisa is asking a question on YouTube. Let me see what it says. How often do you have to check your kidney after attaining 60? Okay, Amisa is asking me a question on YouTube. He says, how often do you have to check your kidney after you attain the age of 60? That's a good question. That's a good question. Now, I think it was last week I was discussing about I made a reference to this. Now, Amia is, I don't know whether that's your age or maybe either you're a diabetic or you're a caregiver. Now, when you are 60 years old, all right, when you are 60 years old, your sugar level is different for somebody in the 30s. Okay? Your sugar level will be different for somebody in the 30s and somebody in the 60s. Now, your treatment for somebody in the 30s will be different for somebody in the 60s. So if you're 60 years old and you're a diabetic, okay, you need more regular eye check because of your age and any underlying cause. You need more regular eye check. Normally, if the person in the 30s that is treating their diabetes, normally they will recommend annually, once in a year, because the person is controlling their sugar levels. The numbers are there to prove it that everything is okay, so they put you 1 year annually, go and do your eye exam, eye checkup. Then the second aspect is that if you are one of those that find it very difficult to control your sugar levels, and the records are there from your family doctor, then they'll send you to a specialist to say, because your family doctor is going to send your record to the specialist that this is your situation. The ophthalmologist is now going to recommend, so okay, due to you're finding it very difficult to control your sugar levels, you are at risk of retinopathy, which is a complication of diabetes. So I'm going to schedule you every 6 months or every 3 months. Some of them is every 3 months, some of them is every 6 months on these two categories. It can't be under a year, because now looking at your age, you're finding it very difficult to control your sugar levels, so your ophthalmologist is going to recommend every 3 months you have to come in and do your eye exam, or every 6 months, to make sure if there's diabetes in your eye, we'll cut it early, we'll be able to treat it. or if there's any leakages in your blood vessels, we're able to block it so that those fluid cannot leak into your eyesight and cause you to have total or partial eye loss. So at 60 years old, okay, Amisa, your doctor have to recommend it, send it to a specialist, an ophthalmologist. Look at your record. Are you controlling your sugar levels? Do you have any underlying illnesses? From my own experience, they can't put it annually. It's going to be either every 3 months or 6 months, depending on the severity of your diabetic situations. If you can be 60 and controlling your sugar levels, you are doing everything, you are eating normal healthy food, you are exercising, you are taking your medication, your blood sugar levels are okay, then they may recommend you to even do it annually or at worst every 6 months. So everything depends on your health record, your A1C test for the past 2 years to see, are you treating your diabetic situations? Are you controlling your sugar levels? That will determine at 60, should I put you at every 3 months, or should I put at every 6 months, or should I put annually? So everything depends. One, are you taking your medications? Are you reducing your weight, exercising? Are you eating healthy? Are you controlling your sugar levels? If these things are okay, lining up, then you might be recommended annually, or at least say, okay, every 6 months. From my own experience. Okay? But if you are 60 and find it very difficult, you are not exercising, you are not eating healthy, all your results come back high sugar levels, you are looking on plumpy, sick all the time, then you are at high risk of losing your eyesight. They recommend you 3 months or 6 months, not 1 year. No, you have to be coming in, they have to be checking you to make sure that your eyesight, there is no diabetes in your eyesight. So Amisa, I think I've answered your question. It could be 6 months or a year, depending how the blood sugar levels record are showing. If you give me more details, Amisa, if you give me more details on your sugar levels, or whoever you're taking care of, tell me, it's okay, this is the sugar levels. If you give me more details, I'll be able to be precise and tell you, is it every 3 months or every 6 months? But I'm just giving you in general questions. So if I have more of your record, that is going to now help me to give you a precise recommendations if it is every 3 months or every 6 months. But in general terms, if everything goes well, it could be 6 months or annually. But everything depends if there's any underlying cause, any underlying illnesses apart from your diabetics. So Amisa, I believe I've answered your question. Okay. So let's I'm trying to all right. So Amisa, okay, thank you very much. All right. All right. So let's see if I'm trying to see. There's a question that come in here. I'm trying to see what is going on here. All right. Now, Amisa want to know the causes of poor eyesight. Okay, Amisa is also asking, want to know more the causes of poor eyesight. Okay. Now, what I'm going to answer your second question. Okay. Now, why it is important? You see, why it is important to do regular eye check if you're diabetic, especially like what Amisa said, he or she is 60. Now, why is it important to do your regular eye check? One is early detection. if there's an early detection of a problem with any of your blood vessels or nerves, you stand 90% chance of regaining your eyesight. For instance, there's a leakage in your blood vessels. It could be stopped, could be blocked. A surgery can be performed to block it so there will be no leakage, and then they can drill those fluid out of the macula to regain your eyesight. So early detections, okay, can critically help you to regain your eyesight by treating those conditions being detected early. That is one. Secondly, monitoring. So for instance, if they detect something in the early detection and they perform a surgery, there's a continuous monitoring to make sure that it does not come back or you heal properly. At least we're able to identify it in the early stage. One, it is good, you have 99% chances of survival, maintaining your eyesight. Surgery is performed, then they keep monitoring those surgeries to make sure there is no more leakages and then advise you on way forward. Okay? Then the third one is changes to your eyesight after the surgery. Okay? Or if there's no surgery, you are okay, is to see during those exams, is there any changes to your eyesight? Now I'm going to give you guys one tips. If you get up in the morning, those that are diabetics, I'm going to give you guys a simple exam. For instance, I'm going to do something now. I'm going to answer your question. I just want to do something now to help you guys what to do every morning when you wake up. I'm going to do something here now. Let's see this. 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 All right. You see what I just wrote here? You see this thing here? It's an exam. I want you guys, if you are diabetics, I want you guys to draw this thing, okay? And then put it anywhere, either in your fridge, at the door of your fridge, or find somewhere at the back of your door. You know, when you close your door, okay? And then paste it at the back of the door, or find somewhere in the wall and paste it. You see what I just did here? Okay? Draw the line. So every morning when you wake up, you brush your teeth. Okay? You wake up, you see this, what I just draw here? At the back of your door, or in the fridge door, or anywhere in the wall. Draw this line, okay? Paste it there, leave it there permanently. Now, when you wake up in the morning, after you finish brushing your teeth, you wash your face, go and stand about 1 meter from where you place it. 1 meter. Stand about 1 meter from where you place this at the back of your door. Close one of your eye. Open one of your eye. Okay? Close one of your eye. And use one of your eye to look at these lines. If these lines appear straight, all of them, you are okay. If these lines appear distorted, they are not in a straight line, it means there's a problem with your eyesight. So draw this thing, okay? Place it in the fridge door or at the back of the door or anywhere in the wall, leave it there permanently. Anytime you wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, close one of your eye and use the other eye and look. You got to start about 1 meter from where you put it and look at this line. If this line does not appear straight, then there's a problem with your eyesight. You have to go and see a doctor immediately. When you finish, you now close the other eye. You close the other eye and perform the same test again. This is what you have to do every morning. You draw these lines. This line must be straight when you close one eye and you are standing 1 meter from where it is placed. If this line does not appear straight, okay, or there's any cut, they are not straight, then there's a problem with your eyesight. Go and see a doctor. So that's that's what start from your house, because when you go to see an ophthalmologist, they're going to perform this test. If you go to an ophthalmologist, a specialist office, they're going to perform this test. And when you are going, they're going to give you something like this to go and paste it at home and do it every morning. And anytime you perform this test and this line does not appear straight, go back straight to them immediately to start checking out what is going on with your eyesight. They will tell you once this line does not appear straight or cut, you have to call them and come in for them to check. It means something is wrong with your eye. All right. So that is why early stages of exam matters. Now, so let me go to Amisa says, want to know the cause of poor eyesight. Okay. Poor eyesight could be of different causes. Now, if you are not a diabetic, okay, you are not a diabetic at all, and you have an eyesight problem. Some eyesight problem could be inheritance, or something that goes through the bloodline in the family DNA. There are some families in their lineage, they have eye problem in the family from their great grandfather to their grandfather to their grandfather to their mom to their, even to that. It means that thing is hereditary. It's something you inherit from your family lineage. So you could have a poor eyesight because it's something that is in the family. We call it hereditary. Okay, so you might be unlucky. Either you don't have it and you have it. Some family you might not even have it, and then your son or your daughter might have it. Some, if you're unlucky, you might have it, but your children are not going to have it. It's hereditary. Like in my family, we have eye problem in my family. Okay, so the causes of eye problem could be hereditary. Something inherited from your family is in the DNA of your family. So then if it's hereditary, then you have to manage it by seeing a doctor. That is one cause. If it is not hereditary, if you don't have any hereditary in your family, it could be, and you are not diabetic. If you are not diabetic, you rule that one out. Okay, what is the cause of me having a poor eyesight? I'm not diabetic. It's not inherited, something I inherited from my family because we don't have eye problem in my family. And that is why you have to see your doctor to find out why you're having a poor vision. And still the same thing. If you are not going to check your eyesight, you won't know why you're having poor eyesight. One, as I told you about this DME, when there's a leakage in the blood vessels or there's nerve damages, there are thousands of nerves connecting to the retina. So if those nerve damages are damaged, that could cause you to have poor eyesight. Okay, so I'm giving 3 scenarios. Either it's hereditary, something inherited from your family, could be a possible cause you have an eyesight in your adult stage or in your old age. Now, if it's not hereditary, if you're a diabetic, then it could be a complications of diabetics. All right, Bella, you're welcome. Samuel, you're welcome. Bibi, you're welcome. Victor, you're welcome. So if you're a diabetic and you're having a poor eyesight, it means you are having retinopathy. There's something we call retinopathy in diabetics. It's one of the complications of diabetics. Failure to control your sugar levels at all times, you're not exercising, can cause you to have what is called retinopathy, and retinopathy can now lead you to have DME. Okay, so those can cause you possible poor eyesight. So how does retinopathy cause it? Because if you're not controlling your sugar levels, it damages the nerves. One thing you have to understand, retinopathy have to do with the nerves. DME have to do with the blood vessels. So if you're experiencing retinopathy, which is the complication of diabetes, it means the nerves that are connecting to the retina is being damaged. So blood is not reaching those areas. So you start developing poor eyesight. So what is going to happen is either have total vision loss or partial vision loss. So 2 things happens, partial or total vision loss. So diabetes could be a possible cause why you're having a poor eyesight, because you're not controlling your sugar levels and there's a damage in the nerves, or it's hereditary. If you're not diabetic and it's not something inherited from your family, then what are the possible causes of your poor eyesight? Now, are you having cataract? Are you having glaucoma? So that is what you have to go and see a doctor to send you to a specialist to find out. One, you are not a diabetic, but they're going to give you a series of questions about your family histories to see, is anybody in your family have an eye problem before? That's how to identify if something is hereditary. So when it's hereditary, there's a different treatment for it. If it's diabetics, there's a different treatment for it. Okay, so that's why they're going to send you to a specialist to now perform exam. There are several types of it, like OCT is one of them, to find out why you're having a possible eyesight. They're going to rule out cataract, Okay, they're going to assess and they're going to dilate your eye and assess it to see if there's any presence of sugar in your eye to rule out diabetics. Dilate it to see do you have cataract and rule it out, or to see if you have glaucoma. Okay, so these are some other causes of poor eyesight. Hereditary, diabetics, okay, or have you had a surgery before in your eyesight before, and all of a sudden you're losing eyesight, okay, or they are set to see is it cataract or is it glaucoma. There's some cataract surgery you've done in the past that might cause you to have poor eyesight later in the future if it is not done properly. So these are some of the possible reasons why you have possible poor eyesight within yourself. All right, Anissa, I believe I've answered your question. All right, so who is this sending me a question? All right, okay, so we're going to go back to the topic I was discussing before this question come in. I was discussing how do you recognize spikes in your blood sugar level and how do you manage it? All right, how do you recognize it? We're talking about symptoms of diabetics. Now, let's look at what are the symptoms of diabetics. Please, I have about 20-25 minutes more to round up this program because I have to, it's over 2 hours we are here now. So if you have any questions, please send them in. So what are the symptoms? Before I go on, please, if this is your first time coming across my page, don't fail to subscribe to my page. I'm on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. If this is your first time coming to my page and you've not yet subscribed to my page, please do me a favor, go to the subscribe button and then subscribe to my page. It costs you nothing. So anytime I'm live or have a new content, you'll be notified. All right. So if this is the first time you are joining this program and you're not yet subscribed to my page, kindly do so. All right. So that you're part of the community. And again, if you like any of the video that I did, just like it and then share it to your friends. Okay. So let's answer this question. What are the symptoms of blood sugar spike? We all know the symptoms. Now, symptoms of diabetics, most of the symptoms of diabetics are mild or silent. Most of the symptoms, you might have diabetes for 6 months to a year without even know that you're diabetic, because most of the symptoms are mild or silent. Now, what happened? There are 2 symptoms that is noticeable in the early stages of the diabetics. There are 2 symptoms in the early stage of your diabetics, which is frequent urination and the blurry vision. Okay? Frequent urination and blurry vision is the 2 symptoms that are noticeable in the early stage of your diabetics. Most of other symptoms of diabetes are silent and mild. And that's why you may be 6 months to a year, even 2 years, without even knowing that you're diabetics. Now, when there's a sudden change in your urination, that you are rushing you are peeing every second you are peeing, that could be a possible sign that you're diabetic. Frequent urination, okay? And then blurry vision. Blurry vision is also in the early stages of diabetes. You start experiencing blurry vision or frequent urination. These are the 2 key elements or 2 symptoms that are noticeable in the early stages of diabetes. The other ones are mild. They don't appear to the later stages. So we have, when your sugar level spikes up, goes high, you will experience frequent urination. You start peeing a lot. So anytime you have, all of a sudden, you start rushing to the washroom, immediately know that there's a spike in your sugar level. And then fatigue will kick in. Fatigue will kick in. You become so tired and weak. And then the third one is increased thirst. So when you have sugar level goes high, you have increased thirst. You drink a lot of water. Why are you drinking a lot of water? Because you are losing fluid. You are going into the washroom every second to pee. And when you are peeing, your body is losing fluid. In the process of getting rid of those extra sugar level in your body, it is also draining some water out of your body at the same time. So you are losing Your body is now working to get rid of those excess glucose levels, and at the same time drawing the other fluid in your system out. Because of that, you become dehydrated. Because of the dehydration, you have to drink a lot of water frequently to replace the fluid that you are losing. So that is what is called increased thirst. Okay, you drink a lot of water, and then the blood revision that I was talking about kicks in also. Okay, and again you have unexplained weight loss. Unexplained weight loss. All right, you have unexplained weight loss. These are the symptoms of when your sugar levels spikes. Now the question is, if you notice these symptoms, how do you manage it? How do you manage it? How do you manage it when you get these symptoms? It is very important for you to know how to manage these symptoms. Doctors don't treat symptoms, they treat underlying cause of those symptoms. So if you want to get rid of those symptoms, you have to treat the underlying cause to get rid of those symptoms. All right? So some people with diabetes immediately feel the symptoms. These symptoms also is part of the symptoms of diabetes. But what am I trying to say? When you are a diabetic, the symptoms remain mild. All right? Most of the symptoms remain mild. It's only two symptoms that are noticeable in the early stages of diabetes: blood revision and frequent urination. Hold on, there's something I have to correct. I have to correct this. All right, so now let's Miss C, you're welcome. I'm going to say hi to you. All right, Travis Atkinson, you're welcome. You joined the program. All right, now the question is that, okay, the sugar level spikes, I'm seeing the symptoms, how do I manage it? Remember, once your symptoms goes high, that's what we call hyperglycemia. You must make sure you bring them down immediately. The prolonged time you allow your sugar level to spike and remain there, the more damages you're causing to your body, the blood vessels and the nerves. You start experiencing neuropathy symptoms, and also sometimes retinopathy symptoms are going to kick in. And also you are endangering your kidney and livers because of the presence of sugar levels which are too high in your system. What I said, liver and kidney are the two major organs diabetes tends to attack immediately to destroy in order to not give you any chance of survival. Kidney and liver is not something you can get in the market. You need a donor to give it to you to survive. So these are the two organs diabetes attack immediately to cut your life short. So that is why I said not every doctor knows how to treat diabetes. The doctors that know how to treat diabetes will give you apart from the other medications you are taking, they will give you a pill that is going to protect your kidney and liver against diabetes attack. So when your sugar level spikes, what do? Most of the food you eat is broken down into glucose. And I said it before. I think Spakato said it before when I was reading his comment, but I don't know whether it's he or she. When you tend to stay away from sugar, white substance or the brown substance does not mean you are staying away from eating sugary items. Most of the food we eat contains carbs. And those carbs are the same thing with sugar, they are glucose. So once you consume something that contains high carb, even though you are not consuming those white substances called sugar or the brown substance called sugar, and you are eating food that have high content of carbs, those carbohydrates is the same thing as sugar. Because once you consume them, your body is going to convert them into glucose and then dump them into your bloodstreams and then spike up your sugar level. So you are still revolving into the cycle. Staying away from sugar does not mean you are managing your diabetes. You have to manage properly what you eat. Identify the items you are allowed to eat and the ones you are not allowed to eat, and then know how to count your carbs. The most difficult aspect of treating or managing or living with diabetes is to know your dieting. You are eating healthy. How much carb do I need to eat? At what time do I space my food? At what quantity? Eating healthy is one of the most difficult aspects of managing diabetes. You might be taking your medication for 20 years. If you are not dieting properly, if you are not counting your carbs properly, you are going into revolving cycles. Your sugar level is going to still be high. All right. Theodora, join, you're welcome. Sadisha, you're welcome. TK, you are welcome. Ayoni, you're welcome. So, that is it. I'm not going to just go into. So, anytime you find out that your sugar levels have gone high and you are seeing these symptoms, what you're going to do is hit the gym, exercise. Take a walk, take a jog, go to the gym, find something to do that is going to make you to burn those excess sugar out. Okay, exercise is one part. Go to the gym, take a jog, walk around your area. Okay, about just walk around, sweat those things out. You see that after your exercise or after your gardening, maybe you have a gardening at home, you gardening, all those things are also exercise. Or you go outside with your son or with your daughter, you start playing basketball, soccer, handball, those are exercise. Do it for 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You see that by the time you come in and take a shower, you see that your sugar level is going to come down and those frequent urination is going to minimize. So exercise is one aspect of treating those hyperglycemia. The second one, the other one is, remember, some medications are taken twice a day, depending on which one you are, and some medications are taken once a day. So medication is also one part of, so if you're not taking your medication or for the day, you can take your medications to start getting rid of those excess glucose levels and allow your cells to have access to those excess glucose levels into your blood to serve as energy. So if medication is not out there, then the next thing is get some of this herbal tea, lemon tea. Okay, take a lemon tea, ginger tea, chamomile tea. Those are herbal tea. Okay. Boil a hot water, use a lemon tea, mix any of this herbal tea, take them, especially lemon. Lemon has a powerful antioxidant. Once you take lemon, lemon can knock down your sugar level very fast because they have the presence of antioxidant in it. Okay, lemon, chamomile tea, cinnamon tea, garlic tea, ginger tea. There's a presence of antioxidant. They are very powerful, especially, that's what they call them, the superfood. The lemon are called the superfood. They have the presence of antioxidant, very powerful to get rid of your excess glucose level and to bring your sugar level down. So exercise, drink of herbal tea, okay, and eating healthy. Knowing how much carbs to consume can help you to get rid of those excess glucose levels. The most important thing dealing with hyperglycemia is as soon as you notice that your sugar levels are high, get it down fast, fast, fast. If it's to go to the gym, if it's to go to an exercise, I recommend exercise. Get your running shoe, go to the field, go to the street and run as much as you can. Sweat them out. By the time you come back home, take a shower, you see those frequent urinations, blood emissions are going to disappear or minimize that. Your sugar levels are okay. The most important thing is to get them down fast, fast, fast to avoid the complications of neuropathy in your system. All right. So let's go to the second question here. Okay, I've seen it here. Canadian Sinner. All right, Christina Lanton, yeah, welcome. Somebody just followed me. Thank you very much for following my page. What again? All right, so Mbia in Facebook, you are silent. All right, there's something. Amisa, do you have any other question on YouTube? All right, there's something we call ketoacidosis or DKA. Ketoacidosis, you also have to worry about it. Okay, or sometimes we call them as DKA. Now, if you have a high blood sugar levels and they remain untreated for too long, now glucose can build up in the bloodstreams. It means you're having insulin resistance. Okay, now because of the presence of too much sugar level in your bloodstreams, you are starving your cells of fuel. Remember, those excess glucose levels is what our body need as fuel, as energy for us to function properly. So when you are starving your cells not to have access to those excess glucose levels floating in your bloodstreams, you become weak. As I'm talking now, it's because of those fuel, those excess glucose levels. Anything we do in a day, we are walking, we are talking, we are jogging, we are dancing, we are standing, you are using those fuel. And if those fuel have been exhausted, for instance, it's like driving a car and you run out of fuel. The car is going to stop. It's not going to drive anymore. The same thing happened to our body. We need those excess glucose levels for our body to function properly on a daily basis. And that is why I keep emphasizing all the time. Any food that you eat that does not contain carbohydrate is not a balanced diet. Even though you are a diabetic, you must have about 15 grams of carbs in that food to supply your body with those excess glucose level or those fuel that your body needs. So when you are starving the cells of fuel, what happens? Instead of those cells, will use what is going to happen? They're going to use their fat for fuel. Okay? That is why I say when you are fasting, people think when they fast is when they are bringing their sugar level down. No, when you are fasting, you are having the opposite reaction. Because when you are fasting, your body has no fuel. Okay? You are weak. Okay? You are weak. It has no fuel. So when the cells of the body is not having access to those excess glucose level, what do? They turn to the healthy fat in your body and start consuming them. We have the healthy fat, we have the bad fat. So your system is going to start eating up your healthy fat in your body. So in the presence of using that healthy fat to use as fuel, that is what is going to lead for you to have what is called diabetic ketoacidosis. And they are very dangerous. Okay, that's what will lead you to have what is called diabetic ketoacidosis. It is very, very dangerous. We call it DKA. It's deadly. It's a deadly condition that causes the blood to become too acidic. Okay? Become too acidic. And then in this DKA, the ketone levels is not managed. They are very, very high due to insulin deficiency. Okay? So when you are starving your cell of grabbing those excess glucose levels because of insulin resistance, you become weak. You can't talk anymore, you can't dance, you can't even walk, you become weak. What happened? When your body can't find those excess glucose to use as fuel, what do? They turn inward. One of your immune system or one of your body will not eating up the healthy fat in your body, because some of those excess glucose levels are also stored in those fat, stored in the liver in form of glycogen. All right? So it will turn to those healthy fat and start consuming those healthy fat in order to supply that energy you need to dance, to cook, to stand, to run. In the process, it releases those acidic, very dangerous acidic into the bloodstream that are deadly. We call them diabetic ketoacidosis. Okay? So people with diabetes can tolerate certain levels, but if you have diabetes, there are certain levels when it becomes too high, it becomes deadly. All right? So what are the symptoms of diabetic ketoacidosis, DKA? Somebody asked me that question, so I'm answering two questions in now. What are the symptoms of diabetic ketoacidosis, DKA? I have about 5 minutes more to round up. Okay, I have about 5 minutes more to round up. I've been here for 2 hours. So those that are joining us now, you're gonna wait. I want to download the video. You guys can watch the full video. Now, if you're watching me on TikTok, because this is a 2 hours video, you might not see the 2 hours video in one because TikTok does not allow 2 hours video. So you're going to see the clips. You're going to see the clips. Okay. You're going to see the clips. Then later I'm going to do parts. I'm going to break them down into parts for you now to follow and watch them fully. But if you want to watch the full video, those that are watching on TikTok, go to my Facebook or YouTube. You can watch the full video in one spot. But in TikTok, I have to break them down, maybe every 30 minutes, part 1, part 2, part 3, for you to watch everything. All right? So, and that is it. So, those that are joining us now, when I download the video, you watch it. And once more, if you are joining us now and you're not yet following my page, please go to my page and subscribe. All right? So that anytime I'm live or have a new content, you'll be notified. If you're not yet following my page. And if you like this video, give us a thumbs up and also share it to your community. All right, to your friends. So let's look at the symptoms of DKA. And I'm going to call it a day here, and then maybe tomorrow I continue. What are Jamal? You are welcome, Jamal Nur. So, what are the symptoms of DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis? One, you have a smelling breath. When you open your mouth, you have a smelling breath. We have 2, nausea and vomiting. 3, severe dry mouth. You have experienced a dry mouth. Okay? And trouble breathing. You also have trouble breathing. Blurry vision. Okay? Blurry vision. Pain in abdominal area, and also confusion will set in. These are some of the symptoms of DKE. All right? These are some of the symptoms of DKE. Friends, I'm going to stop here now because I have to go and watch a game. My team is going to play in the next minute now. You know, I love soccer. So I'm going to watch my game. Probably I'm going to either continue later or we're going to see you guys some other time. So what I'm going to say now, I say thank you guys for joining me on this morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on the location where you're watching me from. All right. So hopefully I'm going to see you guys sometime this week again or next week to continue where we start. So meanwhile, keep sending your questions, and then I'm going to answer them at my earliest convenience. So thank you guys for watching, being with me for 2 hours. Hopefully I'm going to see you guys again. Keep watching, and let's meet again some other time in the future. I'm going to say bye-bye.